Christian Watson leads the Green Bay Packers in receiving since his return from ACL surgery. But forget wide receiver one on the Packers. He's proven he's that this season. He's been one of the best receivers in the NFL this year.
You are Locked On Packers, your daily Green Bay Packers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Packers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Peter Bukowski, and I cover the Packers for The Leap, a newsletter I would love for you to subscribe to. Follow me on Twitter, Peter_Bukowski. Follow the podcast on Twitter, Locked On Packers. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to the podcast, iTunes, Spotify, Google Podcasts, wherever you find podcasts, you'll find Locked On Packers, the number one Packers podcast on the internet, in the show for fans who know what happened. They want to know why and how. Thanks to everyone who makes Locked On Packers their first listen every day. We hope you like starting your day with us as much as we like starting our day with you. Today's episode brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. Lily Zhao from Fox 6 in Milwaukee, our pal, joins us today for another Zhao You Doing, talking Chicago Bears win, Jordan Love's performance and ascension, and we look ahead to the Denver Broncos in another marquee matchup for the Green Bay Packers. But first, Christian Watson, since returning from ACL surgery, and let's not let that part get lost. He tore his ACL in the final regular season game last year. We're talking about less than a calendar year ago. The guy's been back almost 2 months. And since then, since his return, he is leading the Packers in receiving. Remember, in 2022, when he broke out, he was the guy in the offense that had Romeo Doubs on it. When Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback, when Aaron Jones was the running back, he was the guy who ultimately propelled that team, that offense, forward in the second half of that season. Their offense was stuck in the mud until Christian Watson got a hold of it. In 2023, he was hurt for most of that year. And then in 2024, there were a slew of reasons why I don't think he broke out in 2024. He gets the ACL injury, gets a contract extension, and you can see why now. His ability to create explosive plays is as good as anyone in the NFL. And that's not just like, oh, he's Marquez Valdez-Scantling plus. No. In the league, I think yards per route run is the most reflective statistic of any position, because receivers' targets are earned. Yards are earned. Yak is earned. Scheme can help, but ultimately the best players are at the top of the yards per route run numbers every single year at volume. Like if you change the sliders low enough, you can find some guys that are at like 9-10 yards per route run, but they ran 14 routes on the year. So it's like, okay, cool, but like do it at volume. So among guys with at least 30 targets, again, that's not a huge number, but you'd be surprised how many players that eliminates. 30 targets. Okay? Christian Watson is 6th in yards per route run this season. 6th. The names that he is ahead of might make your head spin. Here's just the only players who have a better yards per route run figure than Christian Watson this season. Jackson Smith-Njigba, who has a shot to break 2,000 yards. Puka Nacua, Drake London, CeeDee Lamb, Amon-Ra St. Brown. That's it. Those 5 guys. Watson is 6th, and he's 3rd in passer rating when targeted among that same group of players. And you can say, okay, small sample size. I get it. 38 targets on the season is not a ton. Now, remember, he's only played, half a season, 2/3 of a season so far, and there's 4 more games. He could get to 55, 60 targets. That would be a lot. Not out of the question. Right now, he's 5th in overall grade among receivers with at least 30 targets. He's 5th in receiving grade. So the efficiency, the metrics, they're there. The production is there. The efficiency is there. And he's playing Now he's playing 75, 80% of snaps. Like he's out there and he's playing. This is not when like Marquez Valdez-Scantling, I remember I think it was 2020, like was among league leaders in some of the DVOA and DYAR and yards per route run stuff. And it's because like, yeah, well, he was only really out there to run deep and they had Devontae Adams and they rotated in Allen Lazard. And so like, okay. And Randall Cobb. And so they didn't have to have him out there at volume when he's not going to get the ball and doesn't have a chance to make an impact on the play. That's not this. Like for the last month to 6 weeks, he's been playing 70, 80% of snaps. This is a change that the Packers have made. They're not really rotating the same sort of way. Part of that is Dontavian Wicks has been hurt. Part of that is Matthew Golden has been hurt. But that's part of the reason why this ascension is so poignant for the Packers. If Christian Watson is going to play like this, coupled with Jordan Love playing like this, where you don't have to ask the question, is Jordan Love an elite quarterback? Right now, this year, Jordan Love has been one of the 4 best quarterbacks in the NFL. I picked that number because it's Drake May, it's Matthew Stafford, it's Josh Allen, it's Jordan Love. That's the list. There is a gap between those 4 guys and everybody else in the NFL this year. There's no argument. There's not a statistical argument. There's not a qualitative argument. No. Jordan Love is in that group of players. Well, one of the reasons is because of Christian Watson. Think of the best games the Packers have had this year from Jordan Love. 2 touchdowns from Christian Watson against the Bears. You've got the incredible touchdown from Christian Watson against the Giants. Christian Watson catches one from Malik Willis against the Giants. Multiple 2 touchdown games. I mean, we're talking about a guy who, Matthew Golden, God bless him, the guy can't catch 1 touchdown. And Christian Watson didn't even start the season, and he's got multiple games with 2. I mean, it really is remarkable how efficient he's been this year. On 25 catches, he's got 5 touchdowns. He's on a 1,000-yard pace. He's averaging over 18 yards per catch. Like if this were amortized out over 17 games, we'd be talking about a 1,000-yard receiver with, 10 to 15 touchdowns, 12 touchdowns. Like if he had 60 catches for 1,100 yards and 12 touchdowns, he'd be a Pro Bowler. And we'd be going, that's one of the best 10, 15, 20 receivers in the NFL. Don't miss the evolution of his game. There were a couple plays. We haven't really talked about this on the show, but there were a couple plays against the Bears available to Jordan Love. When he went elsewhere, Christian Watson's open. On the sack, Christian Watson snaps the corner off. And there's a safety playing over the top. But if the ball goes outside, which on a comeback, that's usually where you want to throw it, the safety has no shot at it. Watson's open. One of the deep balls to Romeo Doubs. Jaden Reed and Christian Watson are both open on the backside. Just read the concept and you give yourself a shot. Christian Watson is always, and has always been, always open. But now what they're doing with Matt LaFleur is they're going, okay, you want to play man coverage on 3rd down? Here's Christian Watson. He can now route you up. That was something that you go, okay, well, he's not really going to get open with his route running. Oh, okay. Watch. Because he can do that now. He can beat you as a route runner. He cooked Jalen Johnson on one of the first drives of the game. On a slant, just a simple slant, bap, at the top of the route, and he's open. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, no shot. There are not very many slots in the league that can run with Christian Watson. I've always said this about Christian. If it's him running to grass against a corner, he's going to win every time or almost every time. You have to bring help. And then, so what does that do? All this question about, do they have a number 1 receiver? Well, they do. Okay, how does that fact and the continued production then translates to the way that defenses are going to want to play you? Can you play as much man coverage if this team continues to just shred man coverage? Can you play single high safety if this team is going to just continue to shred single high safeties? This has wide-reaching impacts on this team. I wouldn't be surprised if Christian Watson has another extension this offseason, or they say, hey, look, show up next year And in October, if everything's going good, we'll give you a real money extension. I said at the end of last year, I thought it was just over for Christian Watson and Romeo Doubs. In all likelihood, I thought they were going to be playing their final seasons. But part of that is because I didn't think Christian Watson was going to be back until November, December. How do you give that guy a contract? Now, I did say, hey, a prove-it deal, a small money deal, just come back and recoup your value. They gave him more than that. And he's already outperformed it. And just think, we haven't even seen him on the field with Matthew Golden, with Jaden Reed. Those three guys and Tucker Kraft on the field at the same time. We won't see that this year, but we could next year. And oh man, I can't wait. All right, Lily Zhao next on Locked On Packers. There's no reason to let big wireless drain your wallet, especially during the holidays. Right now, Mint Mobile is running their best deal of the year. All of their unlimited plans are 50% off. That means you can lock in 3, 6, or even 12 months of unlimited premium wireless for just $15 a month. It's the easiest way to take your overpriced phone bill and give it the full Scrooge treatment. And what makes this even better is how simple Mint makes it to switch. No contracts, no nonsense, just real savings and real quality service. Switching to Mint lets you keep the same coverage for a lower price. Bring your phone number with you. Turn your expensive wireless present into a huge wireless savings future by switching to Mint. Shop Mint Unlimited plans at mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. That's mintmobile.com/LockedOnNFL. Limited time offer, upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, $180 for 12-month plan required, or a $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees, initial plans, term only, and over 35 gigabytes may slow network when busy. Capable device required. Availability, speed, and coverage varies. See mintmobile.com. Thanks for making Locked On Packers your first listen every day. And thanks for making Locked On the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club and get Locked On Packers with no interruptions, members only, Discord access, and more for just $5 a month or $50 a year. You want to go check it out? Go to lockedonpackers.supercast.com to check out the link in the show notes to learn more. It's there for you. So go check that out. It is lockedonpackers.supercast.com to become a true blue everydayer with Locked On Packers. Joining me now from Fox 6 in Milwaukee after the Green Bay Packers took care of business against the Chicago Bears. It was a great game, a thrilling game in the NFL's oldest rivalry, but the job's not done. They got to go play them again in 2 weeks. They got another tough game on the road this week. So, Lily Zhao, how you doing?
Peter, I am still, defrosting from that very frigid night at Lambeau Field. It was perfect, I guess, quintessential Green Bay Packers football weather, but, it's a little cold. So I'm defrosting still, but it was a nice night overall. And so I'm doing great outside of that. How you doing?
I'm good. For those listening, we're recording this a day earlier than we normally would. So this is just on Monday, right after the game. So Lily's toes might not be all the way back to normal temperature yet as we move forward here. I know that my adrenaline has not reached a normal level since the end of that game, probably as on edge as I've been for, I don't normally get like that for games. So it was interesting that was that what got me. Maybe it was the amount of smack talk being done on social media. But when you think about the game, are you thinking more about the first half and the way the Packers controlled the game, the second half and the way the defense let up a little bit? The answer, what is the thing where you're like, okay, this is really my big takeaway from all of this?
It's a good question. I feel like, again, it was kind of a tale of two halves in a sense, with the defense playing better in the first half and the offense playing better in the second half. And again, we know what this team can be when they put everything together, when they're consistent, when they play complementary football. But I think my takeaway from this game was the Packers have an offense behind Jordan Love. He's getting his receivers back and healthy, where they have that mental fortitude now, where even if the defense is not having the night that they want to have, and even if they're letting teams back into a game in the third and fourth quarter, they have that mental fortitude to go out there and put together a game-winning drive. I like that killer instinct from this Packers team. They did not give up. They said, okay, the Bears, you tie the game. We're going to go right down the field and score on you too. So that is kind of what I took away from it. Of we know the defense can do as much as they can to keep the offense in it, but when the offense needed to respond late, they did. So that's really what I took away from it, was the guys responded when they needed to.
This, when Brian Gutekunst said, and we've talked about this a lot, and my audience is probably sick of me bringing this up, but Brian Gutekunst said one of the things he wanted to see Jordan Love do better was control the game. And that's not just play better. That's all the little things. It's when you feel the momentum slipping away, can you make that one play? And I thought in this game, the little third down signal to Christian Watson that Christian said he knew as soon as Love motioned, that's a touchdown. Like, those are the little things of playing the position that you get now in year 6 that I feel like have just been different this year for the Packers. They feel different because Jordan feels different. And I think for as good as he was second half of 2023, I think the last month has been the best stretch of quarterbacking we've seen from Jordan Love.
Yeah, it's been phenomenal. I think, the recognition there on that third down, his ability to move his protection around, I think ahead of that other touchdown, just the recognition there from the defense, knowing that, okay, I know what to do in these situations and I can maneuver my team in a winning fashion. And again, that is what makes him so lethal. And it's, you can talk about the Toyota-thon thing with Jordan Love, but for whatever reason, he just has another gear during this time of year. And fortunately for Green Bay, it's against teams that are going to be in the playoff picture. So you're doing it against really good teams. This schedule is very challenging moving forward, but what we have seen from Jordan the last couple of weeks, controlling the game, like you said, is again what I think will help them once the Packers do move into the postseason.
Yeah, and this is just scratching the surface, right? Because Jaden Reed just coming back, Matthew Golden and Dontavian Wicks. Like, Dontavian Wicks has the game of his life against the Lions, but he's still banged up. Matt LaFleur telling us after the game, dealing with some tricky injuries, both of those guys. And so, like, this is still not even full strength for this offense. That's the crazy part. Josh Jacobs, the final drive, he was the closer, not necessarily Jordan Love. That last drive was just like, okay, 17 play drive from the Bears. Let's let the run game take over. And like, we haven't seen that this year, Lily, really, from this team. And they get it in the most critical spot maybe of their season to date.
Yeah, and we can talk about that game-sealing interception as the play of the game, but I thought that third down run from Josh Jacobs, where he 100%. Was dead to rights, gets 21 yards. I mean, you see defenders collapsing on him. He squirts out of there and gets 21 yards. I mean, that was the play of the game. And, talking with him after the game, he said, anytime we're in the red zone, I'm always going to bet on me. Like, I am that confident that I will be able to get the first down. I will be able to get the touchdown. And again, that is what makes him so effective. And again, he's not having the splashy season numbers-wise, but he is effective. And that is what you want from a running back, especially once the weather turns, right? So you are right. I think that play, that drive, those, runs by Josh Jacobs, super key in that win.
Have you been surprised how quickly, like, Sean Ryan steps in for Elton Jenkins, who the Packers said they thought he could be an all-pro center. He wasn't, but like, Sean Ryan steps in a position he's never played full-time. Anthony Belton steps in a position where he has not played a snap in the NFL, I don't think in preseason either. And it's just fine. Like, 2 games in, it's just fine. Like, that's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy, but credit to those guys, right? Because again, you're not thinking that Elton Jenkins will be done for the season at a very critical position. That is the center position. And so when we talked about shuffling those guys around when Zach Tom was injured and, they weren't playing their best football and they weren't protecting the right way. But now when you have Sean Ryan at center, you have Anthony Belton at right guard, it's just things are moving more fluidly. And you look at that protection around Jordan. That's why they were able to pass the ball so well against the Bears and beyond and prior to that too.
The Love thing, I know we just touched on it, but like, it can't be overstated how good he's been the last couple of weeks. And the touchdown at the end of the first half, what a big play in that moment. Bo Melton, and he's really running the clear out route. Like, that route's not really in the concept. They're trying to get Matthew Golden on the dig in behind to try and create a chunk. And Love's just like, forget it. Like, F it, Bo Melton's down there somewhere. Like, that's not the saying in Green Bay, but I guess it was on that play. It feels like there's a synergistic difference right now, Lily, between Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love, where in October, early November, it felt like it was a little conservative. What are we doing here? And it seems, I don't know what has changed. From Matt LaFleur will tell you nothing's changed, right? But we know that's not true. This looks different to me.
Yeah, you know what? Listen, it was they played it well. You get the ball at the 40-yard line. I don't think Cairo Santos wanted to do that. And they took advantage. Instead of, okay, let's settle for a field goal. Let's settle for just getting a first down and going to the locker room. We're going to go for the kill. We're going to go for the
Did you think that's what they would do? I did.
I honestly did not. I thought they were going to just maybe try to get a field goal. But
that's what I mean. I thought they were going to play it safe.
Yes. I thought they were going to play it safe. But the recognition there from Jordan to put a nice touch on that fadeaway ball to Bo Melton. That ball was up in the air for so long.
Forever.
I mean, it was a beautiful ball, and it was the timing was perfect. Bo making that catch, everyone was thrilled for him. But I love the killer instinct. That's what you have to do. That's what great teams have to do when you see an opportunity. Because again, they were able, they couldn't double up, but you had the chance to do that because you got a touchdown before the half, and that was the difference in the score. Those 7 points.
Yeah. All right, let's talk some Broncos and Packers. Let's dig in next on Locked On Packers. NFL Sundays move fast, one big play, and suddenly everything feels different. That's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. This weekend could be a great opportunity because this Broncos team, they've been late starters. Fourth quarter is when they start to hit their stride. The Packers, second half of some of these games, they've let teams stay in it. They've let teams hang around. Maybe you have a chance to make some money with FanDuel. Place your bet as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. You can bet next touchdown scores, drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into and locked on every snap, every drive, every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. Yeah, that ultimately provides you the cushion too. The Bears make their comeback in a different way if you're only up 7-3. And the Bears also had their shot to get it. They get that field goal late in the half, thanks almost solely to Keyshawn Nixon penalties, one of which I thought was completely ridiculous. The officiating, look, I don't want to harp on this too much, but I thought the officiating was pretty bad. Pretty, like the two big replays, the Luke Musgrave call. Lily, did we get any explanation for what happened on the Evan Williams play? I never saw an angle where the ball touched the ground. I have no idea what happened there. Micah Parsons, not one holding call all night, despite being mugged. I don't understand what happened here, but I thought the officiating was, luckily the Packers won and I didn't have to do my whole A block about officiating, but it was that bad.
It was definitely not good. It was definitely not good. Again, I don't, for fans who were there, I don't know if they showed it on the broadcast, but that play where Micah is, kind of getting held around the neck, it's not called. I mean,
it's the play, right? It's the play that gets them in position to get, well, you could have picked any play where he's getting held around the neck. But right. I think the one you're thinking of is the Devin Duvernay play right before the interception where he escapes to his right, where Mike is getting clotheslined by the right tackle. Yeah, and no call. And listen, he was frustrated after the game. He knows what it is. You have to play through it. But he dropped an F-bomb on NFL Network, Lily.
Yes, it did. But again, when it moves into the postseason, those missed calls are important. That could swing the game in favor for whichever team. So it was a very inconsistent night. I'll put that for the refs. I don't want to get fined. I mean, we won't get fined. It was not the cleanest.
for a game with the kind of stakes that it had, that was played, I thought ultimately played at a very high level. I just needed the refs to get the hell out of the way. Just don't be the story. I don't understand overturning, like Luke Musgrave's, that catch is called a catch on the field. I never saw a definitive angle where the ball moved and hit the ground. I don't know how you overturn that. At the very least, I thought that's a play stands situation. All right, let's not go down the rabbit hole too far here. There is this weird quirk in the schedule now, though, Lily, where the Packers get the Bears now again in 2 weeks. So is there something where you go, okay, the Bears found something in the second half and that's translatable? Or do you feel like, hey, now the Bears made some adjustments that actually is going to give the Packers now an early look at what they think, the Bears will try and do in part deux of this rivalry this year?
I think it can be twofold. I think the Bears found out, they can run on the Packers defense, especially in the second half. I mean, why they didn't lean on the run more, especially in that 4th and 1, I don't know. I think guys were surprised it was a passing down. Again, it was that same play they ran against the Eagles on Black Friday. Mm-hmm. That all being said, I think the Bears learned they have success against the Packers defense when they run it and when Caleb Williams is able to roll out with his legs and make plays with his arm that way. But on the other end, because of that, the Packers have time to adjust. What I thought was really just kind of fascinating about the first half was just not fascinating, but it was just nice to see the Packers defense bottle up that run game and fluster Caleb Williams. So you have to give the Bears credit for making those halftime adjustments. But I think if the Packers can play that way like they did in the first half, the Packers have an advantage there. But listen, anything happens in a Packers-Bears rivalry game, especially a primetime game at Soldier Field. I think anything can happen, but I think at least they have a game in between to kind of see what the Bears roll out with against the Browns, which I don't think will be an easy game either. And then, hopefully rebound. But the Packers, I think, in the second half can't let those Bears hang around, and they can't let them run the ball down their throats.
Part of it, too, was they went over 70% play action pass. And that is to mitigate some of the okay, if they're going to show simulated pressures and they're going to bring pressures, all that stuff, well, we're going to line up in run formations and make you think we're going to run the ball. And then we're going to get into those play action looks. Jeff Hafley is going to have some sort of answer for that. Interestingly, Lily, the Packers, there were a lot of questions last week. Are the Bears for real? Are the Bears for real? I don't know that we got a definitive answer on that. I think we're going to have to let the rest of the season play out to get a real answer on that. They're certainly a dangerous team. What's weird is they kind of play the AFC Bears this week in the Denver Broncos. There's a lot of discussion among AFC fans that I know and people who cover AFC teams that I talk to. I don't know what's going on with this Broncos team. The defense is really good. Bo Nix is bad for 3 quarters, and then in the 4th quarter they turn it on. It's the same team in a lot of ways. And so does that help them get prepared here, or do you feel like this is a letdown look ahead spot where okay, they get this big win, the Bears again in 2 weeks? Do we have to utter the word trap game? What do you think the vibes here are?
I really hope the Packers don't think the Broncos are a trap game, especially in altitude in their own house. This is going to be a tough matchup. This is a really good defense. And I know they've given up points the last couple of weeks to teams where you're thinking, oh, that's interesting. But again, it's a defense that can give up points, but it's also a defense that can fluster a quarterback. And so which version of that defense shows up against the Packers at 3:25 on Sunday? On the other end, like you mentioned, it's kind of been inconsistent though there with Bo Nix in that offense. But that being said, they can still put up a lot of points. So will it be a shootout? Will it be a defensive slugfest? I'm kind of curious, but I don't think in any sense, even though the Packers are favored right now, which, is interesting. Yeah. I don't think that they're going to treat this at all like any sort of game that they can overlook because the Bears are looming the following week.
Yeah, you can't get too high on your own supply with the win and then feel like, hey, we get to do this again in 2 weeks. No, you got to stay focused because Lily, the 1 seed or maybe even the 2 seed still out there for Green Bay. I wanted to ask you about this because the more I look at it, this defense at home, they've been outstanding. The Bears were the first team to score more than 20 in a game against the Packers, the first team to go over 300 yards, not 400 yards, 300 yards. The first team to go over 300 yards at Lambeau Field. This defense at home has been huge. How big a deal is it, do you think, for Green Bay? Obviously, the 1 seed, you'd love to get the bye, but to get as many home games as possible, do you think that's a big deal given the way the NFC looks right now?
Oh, I think it's huge. It's just crazy that again, the Bears went from 2-7 with 1 loss. And depending on how the rest of the year shakes
1-7, yeah.
Or 1-7, you're right. 1-7 with 1 loss. That is just how stacked the NFC is this year. So every win is critical. And if you can get those games at home for how well the Packers have played at home, that's what you want, right? That's what you want. You want home field, Lambeau Field in January. And so I think that's what this team is playing for. They've had it before, right? We've talked about in the past, they've had home field advantage, but haven't taken advantage of that home field advantage with Aaron Rodgers at the helm, unfortunately. But this time around, it could be different because you have that defense with that closing mentality and then been playing guys on a defense that can win a championship. And so that's been, I think, different now this season than in the past. But you got to get those home games because we all know, Peter, Lambeau Field playoff games, it's just a different atmosphere. It's fantastic.
Jordan Love has not played in a Lambeau Field playoff game yet as the starter. So that would be something new for this team. Winning the division would be something new for this team under Jordan Love. So all things to watch for here. Lily, we will be watching for your coverage in the coming days, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Peter.
All right, I want to thank Lily for joining the show. Always great to talk with her. We've got our crossover Thursday coming up tomorrow here on Locked On Packers. And of course, our squad show coming at you tonight, 7 p.m. Lambeau time live on our YouTube channel. Of course, thanks for tuning in to Locked On Packers. We got a ton more this week as we get you ready for Packers Broncos. Make sure to subscribe and follow Locked On Packers so you get all the latest episodes. Plus, did you have Locked On Packers on your Spotify Wrapped? Prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform and we'll drop you a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to our members-only Discord. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 national NBA YouTube channel. On audio, make sure to make your second listen Locked On NFL and stay Locked On Packers.